Back on MorningLine, our guest this morning is Clifton Harris, Urban League of Middle Tennessee. We're talking about the state of Black America after the National Urban League just came out with their report, which they, I guess, deem grim. Some of the other statistics out there, we touched on some that they found for blacks in America. Well, you know, one aspect that you haven't fallen behind, white people are 55% more likely to drink themselves to death than black people, okay? And that whites are twice more likely than blacks to kill themselves. The difference there is that black men are 9 times more likely to die by homicide.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what those numbers mean necessarily. I understand the homicide because of the situation, and you don't know behind that, a lot of it's black on black crime too.
Yeah. Well, you know, alcohol these days can be very expensive, you know, so it's about access.
Interesting.
Right.
Economics, yeah.
So that's an economic issue. And then when you know, set up and all the things, you know, where there's a culture of have and have-nots, you know, then there's a risk of people doing illegal things in order, you know, to have the finer things of life, and so that risk, you know, people get hurt.
Do you get frustrated? Because the way I view it sometimes, and not all criminals certainly are poor, but it's socioeconomic. It's socioeconomic. But you get the sense some people are out there thinking it has to do with skin color.
Some people think that, you know. There's all kind of stereotypes out there.
You know what I've stopped doing?
But
I don't think we should show mugshots anymore.
But yeah.
Right, Natasha, would you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, it would change, you know, the biases, you know, from entering into the situation.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, some people are maybe that catch you off guard. From the media point of view, the mugshot is public record. You get that. And whether it's a white, black, Asian, Hispanic, I'm not sure what is gained by putting a mugshot up after someone's already arrested. I understand putting a picture up if you're looking for someone who's at large. But once they're arrested, you as a viewer who doesn't know this individual, what do you get from seeing a mugshot? Nothing except what that person looks like.
Right.
Whether their skin is white, black, otherwise, and stereotypes can be attached to that. There's nothing gained. If I thought there was something gained beyond that, but don't you know? I mean, the media in general. I mean, I don't personally.
It feeds into our biases.
You see mugshots all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't mean anything. I don't get it. That's one of my little pet peeves.
I see you passionate about that.
Well, I guess I couldn't agree with you more, though. So what do you mean it feeds stereotypes? If someone keeps seeing mugshot after mugshot, maybe, of people who are arrested that happen to be of a certain race, and they start making the association with, well, it's only that race that's getting arrested for crimes.
Yeah, and you know, and people start making assumptions that, you know, all black people are like that. You know, well, no, that's not the case, right? That's that person. That's that black person.
Exactly.
You know, not all. You know, you can't put everybody in the same box. You know, I mean, I've gotten into elevators and I've watched, you know, white women, you know, clutch their purchases. Right, you know, so you can't put everybody in the same box. You know, now where that comes from for them, I don't know. Maybe looking at mugshots, you know, Nick, and making assumptions, I have no idea. You know, but I do know and all that, you know, it feeds into the stereotypes, you know, that people, you know, want to make up.
Yeah, they just make assumptions to it, and it does feed stereotypes. Oh, let's take a call from Cindy. Cindy, good morning. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. It's good to hear from you.
Okay. Yeah, you too. And you too, sir. I have a question for him. You know, me and my black folk friends, we don't talk about race because we could care less. We all think of each other as equal. Okay? What about two of my best friends were black. One, her first name was Sandra. I won't say her last name.
That's good.
And my other friend was Carolyn. I knew her all my life. And we all hung together all the time. And then I had Brother John, which was in California, the greatest Catholic Catholic person I've ever known. Would help you with anything. He was always there, the kindest man in the world. They were all black folks. And you know what? They never turned their backs on us or about us or say the past or about you got to live in a certain community and all this other stuff. They were the greatest people I ever knew, as well as a lot of white people. All of us were very tight, very close, and didn't worry about anything. You know why? We were always together, and it doesn't matter what other people say, because I don't know if you ever watched Diamond and Silk. They're two of the best ladies who have their own show on the internet site I ever saw in my life.
So she's talking.
It sounds like that Cindy lived in community with people, and that's what it's about. Living in community with people.
Well, it's just people get to know others that are different than themselves.
Right.
But the problem with society today is that we become more and more separate.
Right.
I mean, more and more separate. You see it all the time. You see it within the religious community, the churches. I see more churches being built, but what they are these big, fancy, beautiful churches with a lot of money spent, but they're walled off. It's all walled off, and they've got their own gymnasium, and some of them have their own schools and their own daycare. It's that they can just stay isolated. I don't know. It just, people are isolating themselves more from others than ever before.
Well, that got into the push when the country was pushing separate but equal, right? And so we live in a society now where garages go up, we pull in, garages go down, and we don't really get to know our neighbors. So it's important, to live in community like Cindy and her friends, so that we can get to know one another. And when we get to know one another and live in community with one another, race is not the main topic, that has to be talked about.
No, it's fine. And Cindy, talked about she happened to have some friends who were black. I don't even refer to, well, I have black friends. I don't say that. I don't even think that way. I mean, I just say I've got friends. Now, if someone says, tell me about them, I may describe what they are, but I don't even think color. Right. But you do hear people sometimes say, well, I have black friends, so I can't be racist. I just think the mere fact of observing the fact that you have some friends that have dark skin and you saying so means you're noticing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean that you're racist. Some people point that, but I don't even think that. I have friends.
Yeah.
I don't even really think about what color their skin is.
Yeah, I can't help but not notice the color of your skin, and you can't help but not notice the color of my skin.
It means nothing to me.
So that, but once you get to know me and I get to know you,
it's a whole different ballgame.
It becomes a different ballgame.
But you still, like you said, you'll notice some of the stereotypes people may have, like say when you get onto the.
Or when I go to a restaurant.
Okay, so when you go into a restaurant, just the way you're served, or just the reaction to others?
Served, treated, it happens so often, Nick, people become gun shy, if you will, the restaurant may be full and the only seat in the house is next to the restroom. Why do you want to set me next to the restroom or set me next to the kitchen?
Oh, you said,
there are a lot of other seats.
If it's not full, you mean? If it's not full, they should give you a better table.
Right.
That's the table you get if there is no other space.
Right. If there's no other space.
And I understand that. I've sat by the restroom.
And I understand that.
Right.
But it's not my first choice of a preference of seating.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
sure. There's small ones.
So things like that. It happens more often than not.
Yeah. And when it does, and you're sensitive to it, you notice it, but what do you do?
Well, I make a conscious decision. Well, do I want to eat here, or do I want to go somewhere else? I don't have to subject myself to this.
Yeah.
I won't put them through it.
Yeah. The other day, I pull out books sometimes that are on my shelf, I'll just sit back and read. And I pulled David Halberstam's book, The Children, out, and again, kind of just thumbed through it. I read it cover to cover when it first came out, but talking about the sit-ins here in Nashville and the change it brought, Diane Nash and what was happening with Fisk and all of that, and the sit-ins. And I was just thinking back then of just the courage it took and what change that brought. And there was quite a bit in that period, of course, in the 60s. But that's where I'm seeing here now still that, not much has changed, especially socioeconomically from those days even to today. And
that is why this report is done every 2 years, to show the progress that is being made, because people say, that you made a tremendous amount of progress. Well, not so. Some individuals have, but as a whole, the progress has not been that great. In some areas, it's grim.
Okay, and back then, radical steps were taken by some very courageous people to sit at lunch counters where blacks were not allowed. And they did that, and we saw what happened to John Lewis elsewhere, and that was super brave, and it made a difference, and it changed. And now you can go into any establishment, as you always should have been able to. But that's what it took then, and that was an obvious thing maybe at the time and boy, the boycott made a difference, didn't it?
It made a big difference.
But those things, those kind of things on the table in this day and age, I mean, we know about the Black Lives Matter movement, we know some of the reaction to some of these shootings in George Floyd. What kind of, can there be more radical action that's reminiscent of the 60s to try to bring more social change, or is that not on the table?
Well, I think, we have to, keep our eyes focused on economic development and keep, change, and being able to help people improve their quality of life, economically, to make a difference and engage people around thought, of political engagement, social justice, issues, and call sin, what it is, sin. And a good bill is a good bill, a bad bill is a bad bill. Let's just call it what it is. And the laws that we make, should be laws that represent, the entire community. Why would you want to criminalize, a group of people because they're poor?
Right.
That makes no sense to me.
Take a break on that note. Come back with our final segment with our guest, talking to Clifton Harris. He's the CEO of the Urban League here in Middle Tennessee. The latest report on the state of Black America right after this. Stay with us.